Hey guys, I've been promising to make this video forever. I tried to make it once before, it didn't work out. One of the common things I get is people want to know how I put those lights on the plane. I'm gonna warn you up front, these lights are not exactly the prettiest lights, but they look great up in the air. I'm gonna show you real quick how to do this. What I'll do is I find these lights. These particular ones came off of a parts kit for an A10. Usually you can get FMS or E-flite, especially E-flite usually has clearance sales on lighting kits for different planes, especially if it's a discontinued plane. So I found some, and the last kit was like 3 different lights for $5.99. You can't beat that. That's a really good price. Then the reason I like the E-flite lights and not the free-wing lights is the free-wing lights usually are 3 volt. The E-flite and most of the FMS lights, they're 5 volt lights, which means you can plug them directly into a receiver and not worry about blowing them out. I found out this the hard way. Didn't pay attention to the little sign that said the free-wing lights are 3.5 or 3.0 volts. So I stuck them in here and it lit up for a few seconds, really bright, and died. First thing I do is I grab my fuselage of the plane. I was going to do this with an actual plane that I was working on, but every time I start working on a plane, it's either, I usually get into the plane and don't think about doing the lights, or at least video recording it. So what I try to do is find something that I can use as an example. Here's cover from a crashed F-35. Yes, I crashed a lot of F-35s. You'll see that in the videos. Where do you decide where the lights are going to go? Well, I try to put them as close as I can to scale. Some planes it's just not possible, but if I can figure out a way to do it, it's usually, I'll look on the fuselage and I'll look for these little release points on the actual foam fuselage, and if I can find 2 of them that are corresponding on each side of the plane, then I'll use those positions. What I normally will do is take some kind of small screwdriver, try to find where I want to put the hole in the plane. And I'm using this example because I'm going to experiment with this. Trying to create a heads-up display for this plane, or a lit-up canopy with a green light without having to run a wire connecting this to the fuselage. I want to kind of create a mirror effect or some kind of sunroof inside here to create the green. I find it where I'm going to cut it and take the small one to start it. Try to do this as centered as I can, and then stick a hole through it without stabbing myself. Once I'm happy with that hole, then I'll make the hole a little bit bigger with like a standard flathead screwdriver. Usually you don't want to go too big with the flathead screwdriver. Now with the body of the plane, usually it's a pretty thick fuselage, so it's going to take a little bit of effort. Basically I want to make sure the hole is big enough where I can slide the light through. What I'll do then is I'll find my light. These usually come in flat. And what you'll have to do is gently bend them over. And when I say gently, I do mean that because if you push these too fast, they could just snap. And it's a pain in the butt to have to resolder these. So what I'll do is I'll just slowly bend them back to where I want them. Ideally, I want them to be almost like a triangle there. Once that's done, I'll then, remember I usually do this on a fuselage. This one I'm just using this as an example. So, I'll run this through the fuselage and I'll pull it out through there. And then before I glue it, what I'll do is I'll pre-fit it. What I'm going for is, sometimes these will come in at an angle, so you want to find out what the angle is that naturally fits with the fuselage. So like here, I just pushed it in. Sometimes it'll catch on one side, so that's why I use a flathead screwdriver, because I want it wide enough that I can put that in there nice and flush-ish. Alright, so now it's nice and flat in there, and if that's where I wanted it, it'd be great, because right now it would illuminate the inside of the canopy. Probably want to put it in the middle if I was actually doing it for this. But I'm not. I'm just using this as an example. Alright, so once I put it in there, before I put any glue in there, I want to make sure that it works. Grab my trusty servo tester. Oh, 60%. Discharge battery. All right. Yes, I use smart batteries. Hate me for it if you want. I like them because they discharge after 3 and I don't have to worry about it. So there we go. Now we know it works. Alright, so there. Anyway, it works. So then I'll run them through the body of the plane. I usually try to tape them up along the fuselage so they're not in the way when you're pulling batteries out and whatnot. What do I do with them? Once I get them where I want them, I'll either connect them to a 3-way, a 2-way, just depending on which one, and find an available port. Pretty straightforward. Any questions, feel free to ask me. The biggest thing is getting it to sit flush. Put a little glue in there so that it doesn't move out. Or don't put any glue in it because it'll stay pretty tight, just in case you don't like the way it looks. I'll create the window down here, and it'll glow green inside the canopy. Alright, like I said, if you got any questions, feel free to drop me a line. Be sure to like and share, or check out my other videos. Thank you.